It's a recorded one.
Okay, excellent. So those who miss it can at least catch it afterwards. There's quite a lot of content to share. The content I'll share from a personal perspective. I would suggest that after this session that you take a little bit more time to go through the content because you can read. I will cover what are the top line things that I believe if I was in your shoes as a student and I was looking to go, to find, and to be found, whether it is in employment, whether it's in creating new opportunities like being a lecturer, a mentor, a coach, or whether it is starting up your own personal business, that's how I'm going to be looking at this session. So that's the flow of it. We've got a bit of an agenda and a structure to it. Ultimately, I personally believe that it all starts with your digital presence and your digital profile, which is why you've got questions around social media, which I'll answer as we go through this. How we create that first professional presence that we want those who are looking to hire, those who are looking to give us opportunities to see and understand about us. How do they feel about us? This is the unique part about what you can do with your digital presence is giving people a feeling of who you are, not just what you are. That's your resume. That gives us factual information about who you are. But what is important now is to build a persona and a personal brand around it. All of us have social media feeds, different types. But I wanted to clearly illustrate where LinkedIn takes its part and where you can use your other channels to deliver the same consistent message, but to a different audience. I think one of the questions that was asked up front was, should we have multiple channels? Well, yes, I would say have multiple channels, but are those multiple channels a consistent view of your professional image? So if a recruiter or a hiring manager does a search on you, what are they going to find that might alienate you from potential opportunities? Your brand is what people talk about when you're not in the room. So it's important that if we've got other channels, if we've got a Twitter account, it doesn't pay us good to be ranting at KPLC, for example, because we've got a blackout. It doesn't help us because we're using our real names. So on other social media channels, my personal advice is that maybe have them just in your first name, or if you believe that they greatly enhance your brand. So for example, my main channels are Twitter and LinkedIn, and I've also got a YouTube channel. With my personal brand, to tell the human side of myself, I have an Instagram account. But I control that Instagram account in terms of what people will see. This is where I get to show my volunteer experience, my passions outside of work, because I've used my real name. And I know that those who I want to associate with will search for me on multiple platforms. So going back to the picture we've got on the screen, we've got donuts, how you would talk about them in multiple streams. But this is where the language changes with LinkedIn. It takes a different tone, a tone of professionalism, where you're looking to connect with others in that industry, where you're looking to share your thought leadership in that industry, where you're looking for new opportunities to learn, to grow, or to invest or do business with. So one thing we need to control in terms of how we are projected as professionals is our tone. Again, think about the people that you're addressing. What age frame are they in? What stage of their career are they in? So when you're looking to connect with someone, when you send that a message that says, I'd like to connect because I'd like to exchange experiences, thought leadership, I'd like to learn from you, that opens you up to having more connections. Sending a message that said, Nyaje Buddha, check out my profile. Does that work? It doesn't serve you. So guys, let's watch our tone on these platforms because human beings are perceptional. That first impression they get about you when you're not in the room, and even more so in this environment where we're doing video interviewing and screening of candidates remotely. You don't have that opportunity to impress us with your hairstyle, your suit, your briefcase, whatever it is. So how we behave on social media will ultimately impact the opportunities we'll have. And the competition is stiff. It's no longer local, it's global. I work with recruiters, and what I'm finding is that they're looking to hire remote skills from anywhere in the world, as long as that person has shown that they have a skill, the entrepreneurial side of things. And here's the thing, guys, most of you say, oh, how do I build my profile if I don't have experience? Volunteer your services. They're incubator hubs. Find an attachment, because you need to show your entrepreneurial spirit in terms of, I did not wait after college to get a job or for an opportunity to come to me, but with the limited resources I had, I attacked that marketplace. I shared my thought leadership. I engaged with the leaders in that industry, and I disrupted the market by using my cell phone and starting to do video engagement. I opened up a YouTube channel sharing my skills and my experiences. Because guys, if we lead with education in terms of how you behave on social media and how you build a powerful network, lead with educating people. Share the knowledge you have. You've been fortunate to go to university, and you've been fortunate to also see life experiences where this academic experience plus this life experience you've had has given you some insights. So on social, and if you want to be a leader, help other people become more productive and more successful in what they do. But it is not to say take a position of I am the teacher. It is also to take the position of I'm the student. So share, connect, and learn, and brand what you're doing. Do it with passion. You'll often see on my LinkedIn channel, and you also see it on any stream that you find me, that I talk about it's a time to shine. It's time to shine for you as an individual. And the world has never been more flatter than it is today. I know they talk of the curve, but it's never been more flatter, because you can create your digital presence. And we're doing this for free with just our mobile devices and our data bundles. You can access jobs and other economic opportunities by your behavior. And not only within your region, but across the continent and of course across the globe as a whole. So what can LinkedIn do for students? I'm going to read through this real quick. Of course, the opportunities for you to connect. And I said, when we're trying to connect, let's be mindful. Let's give people a justification for connecting with us. So before you connect with me, have you been reading my articles? Have you been looking at my profile? Have you commented on the things that I've been talking about? What leads you to think that we should have a relationship? Think about that, right? And when we do connect, how polite are you in saying thank you? I appreciate the connection. Here's what I'm good at, and maybe we can exchange. Because reverse mentorship is what it's all about. I want to learn this from you, but I'm really good at this. If you ever think you need me, great. Don't sell. The mistake I've seen most people do is immediately they get in, they're trying to sell themselves, or they're trying to sell a product, or trying to sell a product, service, or themselves. Meaningful connections. Relationships matter. Use LinkedIn to go and find information about any area of the business that you want to end up in. Yes, you're in the engineering, but right now companies need us more in terms of developing great products that our customers will need, because the resources are limited. So stay informed on things that are outside of your engineering expertise. Learn communication skills, because those will help you. And I'm glad that you joined this course so you can learn a little bit about personal branding. Lastly, it's about getting hired. That's what we can do for you, is that by taking some meaningful actions, you can set yourself up for being hired. So just to give you a total roundup of how big LinkedIn is and why it's important for you to build your personal brand, is that, and I think I need to update the slide, because there it says 610 million members. It's actually 690 million members, with over 39 million students like yourself. So how do you stand out? Which companies are you following? Which companies are you receiving information about? And again, open your mindset. It's not just about getting employment. It could be a partnership. Think broadly. How do we get noticed? Like I said, right up front, there's going to be information that I'll share with you. Here are the 7 top tips of things that you can do to build your profile. You will have access to this recording afterwards, so take that information in, but I will go through the 7 step by step. So number 1, your profile photo matters. Why? Because most people view profile photos or view your LinkedIn profile from a mobile device. So it will pay us that 60% of our face is within that real estate that LinkedIn has provided. Take a photo that represents the industry or the professional brand that you want to represent and stick to it. Brands are consistent. Yes, evolve as you age or you change, because again, we want to look authentic, but try not to overchange it because you want people to resonate with your image. Our eyes process images up to 60,000 times faster than text. So is it a warm picture? Is it a smile? Is it in black and white? There are filters available on LinkedIn, but dress for your industry. That's the first thing. And as you can see in the graphic here, there's real estate at the back. That image that you've got at this back there, don't leave it as the standard LinkedIn blue, because it tells me that you don't even work on your profile. Edit it. Find an image that resonates with you, that tells a story. I've personally used books because I love reading books. My father was a bookseller, and I believe in knowledge. I believe in storytelling. I want to be an author. I'm heading into all of those things all at once. And in your perspective, when you see books, what's the first thought that comes to mind? Next, as you can see on this graphic again, is a short narrative in terms of who you are, what you stand for. This is probably the most read space in terms of recruiters and hiring managers. So those first 2 sentences that people read about you, what does it say? In my case, I've said my mission is literally to make the working world a better place, one HR director at a time. And I've got 3 hashtags: Africa, HR, jobs. Because in my daytime jobs, I'm working with HR directors, helping them find talent like yourself. Next, your education. Go and make sure that on your profile, it's correctly associated with the institution. If you're not seeing a logo, it probably means that you typed the whole name yourself, and you might have left out something. So use the search ahead facility here, where you type in the first 5 words and let LinkedIn pop up the number of options that are available for you. Because if you add your university and your school, you'll find that you'll now be associated with the alumni. So add your academic awards and your honors. Include all of the activities that you took a leadership position in and the clubs. Because here's the thing, beyond your education, people also want to understand you holistically. We want to know what you care about. And that's why we'll talk to volunteer experience a little bit later on. I want to pause here and just make sure we're still connected. Are we connected, ladies?
Yes, you're connected.
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
You're connected.
I don't have access to the questions. I think I'll pop to that at the end. In the interest of time, we've done 16 minutes so far. How am I pacing? Is that too fast or too slow? Can guys hear me?
I find it moderate. It's okay.
Okay, excellent. So let's carry on. Okay, work experience. On LinkedIn, you have further real estate that you can utilize. Under work experience, here's an opportunity for you to think broadly. Don't think of it in the traditional work experience context, but if you've helped in a family business, if you've helped over your summer break, if you've had part-time volunteer work that you've done, you have an opportunity here to put in that information. And what's more, again, making sure when you're putting it in that it picks up the logo of the institution. Most companies have a presence on LinkedIn. If the institution doesn't have a presence on LinkedIn, maybe you can help us ask them to create a presence. Because again, you want to tie it up with alumni. And what's more, recruiters, when they're searching, they might do a search and say, find me people who have worked at X company. Because they found that those people are successful. Those people tend to bring on a different approach to problem solving that might be unique. So they look at that company as a training ground for future hires. So you want to make sure that you've got that clearly outlined. And more importantly, as you can see under the work experience, the first thing I'd encourage you to do is just explain who that organization is in a very brief way. So 1 or 2 lines. What does that company do? Because remember, our global recruiters might not be familiar with all companies in Kenya. So it pays you to say, this is the organization, this is what I did in the organization, and this is the impact that I brought. And again, being mindful, using words that are associated with that industry. Because the truth be told is that technology uses algorithms. So if your work experience, which I hope you're doing as storytelling, detest from doing bullet points or doing a cut and paste of the job description. It shows no personality. It bores the reader. If your objective is to engage hiring managers, partners, investors, thought leaders, tell a story, and tell a story which uses the words of the industry, highlighting what impact or unique value proposition you bring that will help transform their lives and their businesses. I talked about volunteer experience. Go in and put in your volunteer experience because people want to understand you holistically, and you'll get up to 6 times more views. Your volunteer experience might align with that hiring manager's personal passion or organizational CSR work that they're doing. So show your interest, join groups, put in your achievements and your accomplishments so that this speaks about you when you're not in the room. And courses. I'm going to give you guys free courses at the end of this. Associate them with your profile. At the end of each course, it will give you an opportunity to say, do you want to attach this to your profile? Attach it. Because again, what we want to show is that as much as we have been in university, we've continued to invest in ourselves post and during university years. And the courses I'm giving you speak to specific digital skills that people need today. And the thing is, with university education, as great as it is, when we put it up on our profile, it tends to be a headline. It doesn't delve into the specifics. So by taking on these small courses, you'll be able to, first of all, say, I have done a social media personal branding course. And when a recruiter searches by a keyword like social media, personal branding, they will find you. Let's increase our odds of being found. Let the technology work for you. Your interests also tell a story about you. When we are able to see as recruiters your interests or the companies you follow, it tells us what kind of career trajectory you're aiming at. So don't have too many. Try not to overmix it. Let it tell a consistent story of how you're investing yourself in following the biggest companies or following the most innovative companies or following your key stakeholders that you want to work for. Your skills matter. If you add up to 5 or more skills, you will receive up to 17 times more profile views. Your skills can only be endorsed by your first level connections, meaning people that you're connected with on LinkedIn. And let me be clear here, LinkedIn is not a popularity contest. That's why on each person's profile, it shows you that this person has plus 500 connections. It is to stop that behavior of randomly connecting with people. Because here's the truth, the people we connect with ultimately determine our experience on LinkedIn. So if you're finding that you're not opening up your LinkedIn every day to find industry news, thought leadership, to find personal testimonies, to find coaching, to find motivation, industry news, to find jobs, then it means you're not following the right organizations or the right people or the right hashtags, or are not participating in groups, or your network is built up of people that might not be active or might not be in the industry you want to grow into. So only your first degree connections can endorse you. This helps tell recruiters the skills that you say you have and what is being publicly endorsed by other people. So start connecting up with professionals you know personally, your professors, your lecturers, your neighbors, those already in the industry, and of course, your alumni. Probably, if I was to be asked, what is probably the hardest part when you start off building your personal brand on LinkedIn? It would be your draft summary, your elevator pitch, where you get to tell the world your short story. It takes time. I've done it, but it's a living document. It's not perfect. I'm going to change it as my career aspirations, my ambitions, my desires, my career journey changes. I will change that real estate. And do the same for yourself. Because this is the part where recruiters and hiring managers read. Who are you? What do you do? What do you aspire for? And why are you looking to connect? Why are you on the platform? Keep it short. Tell your story. Keep it simple. Assume you're meeting an executive in an elevator. The executive that could be giving you the opportunity to invest, to hire, to recruit, whatever the opportunity you're personally looking out for right now. Make sure that this is personal and it's a short story of yourself. In terms of launching yourself, make sure, like we said, that you're associated with your university, because you will find alums that are currently working in your country, in your industry, in specific industries that you want to enter. And you can start reaching out to those alums and saying, listen, what is the interview process? What should I wear? What questions should I anticipate? How else can I find out more about the culture of this organization in terms of career development? Because that's important to me. It's much easier to connect with people that went to the same university as yourself and ask for help. So break out of your silos. Make it intentional when you're connecting with people, when you're meeting with people. You don't have a business card right now as a student? Well, great. Use your LinkedIn as your business card. Ask to connect with people, whether you meet them in Zoom meeting, webinars, or you're interacting on other platforms. Put your LinkedIn profile first in terms of telling your story. And you can use rich media with it. You can add video, you can add pictures that will show your final year project, your thesis, your plan, your design model. Whatever is not confidential and is in the public domain, let it tell your story. Follow the companies you're interested in, because you will receive news about them. And on top of it, you will then start seeing job opportunities from those companies. And I said, be intentional. Try not to have too many. Add more as you find that you're getting a better experience in terms of your LinkedIn newsfeed. By following those companies, You will understand their culture and their dynamics. Go and look for jobs on the platform with those organizations, not to immediately apply, but also to start seeing what tone of language are they using, what kind of skills are they looking for. Oftentimes people ask me about LinkedIn Premium. Should I invest? Should I not? If you're seriously job hunting, I would say invest. Because when you have LinkedIn Premium, it will tell, excuse me, it will give you analytics about the people that have applied for that job. It'll give you analytics about how long people stay in the company. What is their hiring pattern? What is their culture? What are the demographics of the organization, if that matters? So LinkedIn Premium will also give you access to learning that will help you improve your odds. So it's a personal investment you can make to increase your odds, and seeing that, oh, there's a job, 45 people have applied, 16 are from Kenya, 48 are, or whatever the numbers are, from this geography, 6 of them have MBAs, 4 of them are currently working. Those types of analytics will help you decide on, should I apply or should I not apply for specific jobs. There are influencers on LinkedIn that you can follow for thought leadership. Again, remember, by following the people in specific industries, as a recruiter, I'm getting to understand you better. As a potential partner, as a hiring manager, as a potential investor, I'm seeing what you're passionate about. Join the groups, like I mentioned. There are groups for universities and there are groups for professionals. Go in there with a mindset to learn first. Learn the tone, learn what other people are sharing, connect with people that can help enhance your career. Join groups, it will help you build your global network. Like I said, let's think global, not local, global, because the opportunities that exist right now are far beyond our traditional regional boundaries. Get into those groups, as I said, with a mindset to learn. And where opportunity provides you, share your knowledge. But be in that position where you're respectful of other people's opinions. Manners maketh the man, even in the digital world. Here are the most in-demand soft skills. I want to wrap it up as we get to the end of this so I can answer questions. So far, we've done 29 minutes, but I wanted to highlight some soft skills that you can invest in that will enhance your chances of standing out. Here's what companies are looking for. In 2019, we polled organizations to find out the most in-demand soft skills. A lot of us take these for granted, but they matter. And that's why I'll be pushing some LinkedIn learning courses to you that address this type of thing. You can further invest yourself because we have over 50,000 courses available. But it matters because the algorithms are going to pick up that, first of all, you've invested in it. It grows you as a person. And soft skills are important both in our professional lives and in how we treat others around us. And more importantly, as we are currently in lockdown, we're spending more time with our families. I've said to people, each and every one of us is a CEO, is a president right now in your home. So if you are the CEO, if you are the president of entertainment, or just bringing the family together for a meal, wouldn't those skills be more enhanced if you invested in softer skills? Teaming, collaboration, I'll share those with you. So most in-demand hard skills, mostly technology skills. Of course, there's going to be a shift because the world is going through a shift, but these were the top skills that companies were looking for, including things like people management, artificial intelligence, machine learning. How are you taking your engineering skills and adapting them to the things that companies are looking for? Robotics, AI, reasoning. So if you want to find out more about how you can enhance those skills, like I mentioned, LinkedIn Learning has over 11,000 courses for both business, leadership, creative, and technology. And as I said earlier on, I'm going to give you access to some free learning. Here's what we've got. In terms of helping you build out your job strategy, there's a couple of courses we've made available, teaching you how to grow your network, and more importantly, teaching you how to improve your interviewing skills, particularly with video, because companies are going to be asking you to do video interviews, either you with 2 or more or live people, or alternatively, the tricky one, where they ask you to do a video recording as part of your submission of your application. We also will share with you, for those of you who have entrepreneurial skills, courses that can help you set up a small business, courses that can help you manage your small business, courses that will help you manage your finances, whether you're assisting at home, in a family business, you're assisting yourself in terms of personal finance management, or you're looking to grow and start a new business, how you can leverage that on LinkedIn. And more importantly, guys, I know we're all going through this current situation. There are courses to do with emotional intelligence and managing stress for positive change. I would say start with that. Each one of us needs to find spiritual mindfulness balance. Even as you go into this job market, you're going to need an element of resilience. It takes time to build a following on LinkedIn. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So as you go through that, you will need to help yourself, manage yourself, be aware of yourself, align yourself to goals, align your activities to things that will help enhance and build your brand. Opportunities are there, but ultimately it depends on where we're investing our time. If you're on social media, how will that help me grow my personal brand? The traditional jobs as we knew them will disappear, have disappeared. Things have changed. So if it means you have an excellence or an understanding around a particular topic, start sharing that knowledge. Start showing and leaking that passion that you have for whatever it is you're good at. Because if you're not telling your digital story, if people are not aware of you, how else will they find you? With that, I'd like to thank Beatrice for this session. And I believe this all kicked off when Gloria got a hold of me and put me in touch with Beatrice. So Beatrice and Gloria, thank you very much. And everybody else who was on this session, thank you. I've managed to do this in 35 minutes, which leaves us time for questions.
Thank you so much, Stuart. I don't know, we have 6 more minutes. I'd like to give this chance to guys who have questions. And then I think, Rose, you can give Stuart a vote of thanks. But I have learned a lot from you, Stuart, and I don't know, I can't even summarize everything. I've written them down on a book somewhere, and you'll start seeing my LinkedIn profile changing. So if guys, you have any questions, you can raise up your hand or just unmute yourself.
How many people did we get online today?
We have 19 participants.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's a good number.
Guys, what questions do you have? I'm happy to answer. It's a fantastic platform. It has worked for me. This is why I'm super passionate about helping you guys. I've worked for some blue chip organizations, not because I applied, but because I used this particular platform so well that they came looking. And ultimately, that's what I want to do for you. You have skills, you have passions, you have a story, you have expertise that the world needs. You just need to become more digital about it and intentional about it. Then the opportunities will start coming. But it takes time. I've invested a lot of personal time in developing this, a content strategy, who my audience is, being intentional about when I post, being mindful about the language that I'm putting out, what kind of content I'm avoiding, political, medical, religion, sport, because I know people are perceptive. So I will stick to what my professional brand is. And on my personal channels, I will live life. I will tell you the team I support. But where I know my audience is and where they're going to find me, like right now, if you do the hashtag, it's time to shine, all that content is mine. I've curated a personal hashtag. So start creating your personal brands. Do we have any questions?
Yes, I have a question. My name is Pauline. Thank you, Stuart, for the presentation. My question is it, if you don't have recommendations on LinkedIn, is it okay to ask a professional, someone you know, to write a recommendation for you? Or does it really matter having a recommendation on LinkedIn?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, it matters. Thank you for that question. Recommendations matter. If you need a recommendation from your lecturer or your professor or the dean or the vice chancellor, he's a busy man. So why don't you write out a small template? As you ask for that recommendation, here's what I was thinking you could recommend me for. Please feel free to add your own tone to it and then put it on my profile. And the beauty with recommendations is that it comes back and gives you an opportunity to read it, look out for spelling mistakes, or maybe you ask someone to highlight something or delete something. It gives you, the owner of the profile, the opportunity to then say, yes, I'm happy with this recommendation and I'm putting it. Number two, you need to give recommendations because it speaks volume about your character. If you're just seeking recommendations, it tells me something about you. Recommendations are powerful. A recruiter does not have time to sift through all the graduates. They want to be able to see which person has been given professional recommendations and by whom, and what that relationship was. You're saving them time. So without recommendations, you're giving them work. So let's not give them work. Let's give recommendations. Let's receive recommendations. Let's not trade recommendations where I give you one, you give me as well. That's cheap. Let's be authentic about it. And when we're asking people for recommendations, be specific. I volunteered last year in this student initiative, and you said that I helped us meet budget. Please, can you write 3 lines as a recommendation on my profile, specifically talking to this skill or this experience? Don't just click the button that says ask for recommendation and ask people to figure out what to recommend you on. Your diet, your running, your walking, your shoes, your style? No. Be intentional about it. It speaks volumes for you. Do it. I hope I answered that passionately and comprehensively.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, Beatrice.
I don't know if there are more questions, guys. Or Rosemary,
Yes.
how many minutes do we have?
I don't know why Zoom is still allowing us to continue. Maybe because this is the first meeting I've hosted. So maybe
Yeah.
we can just continue. There's some questions that we had received from the Google form. I don't know if you managed to. Did you manage to share or get them?
Yeah, I tried to speak to each one of those, but I'll be happy to try and cover them again if anyone feels nothing has been covered. But I've got them open in front of me. So the first one was, Do you have to be involved in all social media platforms to create a brand? How does one deal with cyberbullying? Cyberbullying, here's the deal. LinkedIn is a professional platform. If you do get cyberbullied, which is on the, I have never heard of it, but you can report, you can block someone from continuing to interact with you. Everything on your profile, you can control. So even the photograph that you have, you can control who sees that and say only people I've connected with will see this type of information, like my work experience, my volunteer experience. You control every aspect. So take time after this session to look at your LinkedIn privacy settings and start changing that. In terms of cyberbullying, I always say social media is 3 things. It's like amateur boxing. Round 1, you throw the first punch. Round 2, the second person throws a punch. Round 3, you throw a punch, and that's the end, which means I share my thought leadership. You disagree and you come back to me. I share why I shared what I said the way I said it and why I am grounded around that thought process. And then we leave it at that. Do not entertain trolls. There are people out there with more data bundles than you can afford. So don't go into bickering, because what happens is later on that thread, people forget your core point, but they're focusing on the negativity. Is it advisable to have a personal social media manager? That was one of the other questions. If you've got the money, do it. But you know what? A lot of this you can self-service, because it must be authentic. It must be from the heart. You must understand me. You must understand my passion. I must respond to a situation as I see it, being mindful, being professional. And if the social media manager is going to do it for me, wow, they'd have to live with me to understand that. Other question you had here is, how do I reach more people on social media platforms without paying for ads? Write articles, share your thought leadership. On LinkedIn, you have 2 opportunities. 1, to send out an update. 2, to write a long form article. Write an article is the best way to establish your personal credibility and to reach more people on LinkedIn. And of course, you need a network. Number 4 was, is it important to share only serious stuff if you're known to be a community leader? No, guys, I don't think it's important to only share important, serious stuff. You can, this is why I say bring in your personal element to this. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to share my browser. Let's see here. All right. Tell me if you can see my browser. Hello?
Yes, we
You
can.
can see your browser.
You can see my browser, right? So is it gone to my LinkedIn profile? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
All right, so just on my LinkedIn profile, I just wanted to show you. So like I said, there's the photographs that I've put in. There's my personal branding. Again, this real estate here where your name and your title is super important. How you tell your story. Putting in, searching for opportunities, leaks of desperation. Tell us what you're known best for. Tell us the job or the aspirational title you'd like to have. And then later on in your about section, explain what it is you do and what impact you want to bring. But make sure that this title at the top grabs attention. I wanted to move over to, as you can see here, there's some rich media. Again, if you're ever looking for content on how to help build your LinkedIn profile, how to speak like an executive, I've put that all here in my profile. But more importantly, you were asking the question on how do I build followers? I hope I didn't move too quick here. I've just scrolled into my profile, moved over to activities, and it'll show me all the activity of things that I've posted, but more importantly, articles I've written. So as you can see here, I recently did an interview with a young man, and I entitled it, "Out of the Mouths of Babes Comes Wisdom and Truth." The reason being, the young man I interviewed is my son. He now has a YouTube channel at the age of 9 and has already got a merchandise line. So when I interviewed him, it was to ask him, how do you do content management? What's important? What are the things that you would recommend if you were to start off a YouTube channel? What is your theme? And what is the best type of content? And this is why I said, out of the mouths of babes comes the truth. Because I said, what is the best thing to put out in terms of your LinkedIn content or your YouTube channel or your Instagram channel? What's the best content? And the answer was, what you're good at. It's a simple thing. So even you right now, as you're beginning to recreate your own personal journey and your own personal story, what are you good at and how are you telling that story? Now, when you write an article, this stays with your profile. So I've written several articles here interviewing subject matter experts. As you can see, I will use the imagery to try and grab attention because guess what? There is so much content out there. 690 million people are posting. So how do you make sure that people stop at your particular content? I'll show you one of my most popular pieces of content that people liked was, and you might find useful. Whoa. First of all, this one here, why you need to publish on LinkedIn, right? So that's a great one. It's got short tips on how to publish on LinkedIn, how to make money off LinkedIn, how to recruit, how to change your profile without alerting your boss, why your LinkedIn profile matters, how to take a great photograph on LinkedIn, and why your profile really helps you grow. So you don't have to be restricted to the formal conversations. You can also broaden into your personal experiences. I wrote an article here about my personal experience of travel, of moving from Africa to moving to Europe, and all the things that we have found different in terms of having someone to assist you with your children, whether it's cooking, the dress code. You can write it as long as people are going to learn from it. Can I move on to the other questions that you have here?
Yes, the session should end in 10 minutes, so you still have time.
Okay, so you also asked the question here, how to extend your personal brand to cover your project or social impact initiatives. Excellent. So if I go back to my profile again, let's just click here. You'll find that it gives me opportunities here, real estate, to attach a document. So for example, this is a document that speaks to how to create your executive impact on LinkedIn by having a digital voice. And you can see someone can scroll through this, which is a PDF document, and get some tips. Now, I've done that because I know after every session like the one we're doing now, someone's going to ask for information. Instead of trying to fight with other content in your email box, I have provided here where you can come and access it simply, quickly on your own. So like if you attended the session and you're saying, Stuart, what are those tips for setting up my profile? I don't have the recording of the session. You can come on my profile and you can find that PDF and download it yourself. So that's a great way of engaging people. You can also use videos.
In the beginning, the role of your HR team was largely functional. It was centered around payroll, leave, policy making, and training.
So I found a great video that talks about how HR leaders have changed and why they need to continue to change because the world around is changing. This speaks to the HR directors that I said I need to communicate with. What's more, guys, in terms of your projects, what you can do, like I said, under your work experience, is that you can again attach documentation that will help someone understand the nature of your work or the nature of your project. It can be images, it can be screen grabs, or it can be videos. So if you volunteered for an organization that has a YouTube channel and has content available, you can go and get that content and attach it as long as it's in the public domain. And lastly, like I mentioned, under your volunteer experience is where you can now go and put in the activities you've done to help society. Next question we had here was, how should I structure my posts? Well, your posts, I would say, first of all, What are you teaching people? What will people learn by reading your posts? So if I just go to my own personal posts and my own content that I shared, I'm making myself vulnerable here. But here's, if I go into my posts, here's the flavor of what I do. So this is called edutainment. I sent out a morning quiz this morning, which is a crossword asking headhunters, talent, HR professionals, recruiters, and talent acquisition specialists who are my prime audience. And I've used hashtags so that when anyone searches for the hashtag recruiter, they're going to find this piece of content. And I've given them a quiz on finding talent. So there's a hidden word for two hidden words. Yesterday was Mother's Day. I sent out a Mother's Day message and I created a Spotify music playlist for all the mothers out there. Look at this. LinkedIn is not a popularity contest. 6 people responded to it, but 1,273 actually looked at it. So that's what's more important, is people looking at it, not so much the likes. I aim to educate people. So here, as you can see, I shared a course that I'd completed and I recommended it to people by saying, here's why I recommend it. So when you finish those courses I've provided for you, make sure to explain why you recommend it, because then your personal network will grow from you. So structure your post based on what's happening right now in terms of current news and information. I gave a webinar to HR professionals the other day covering East Africa. I was on a panel. I sent that out. Again, the interactions will give you insights in terms of who is engaging with my content. And LinkedIn allows you to click on it and see that the people who read this the most were from LinkedIn, Oracle, SAP, Safaricom, and Microsoft. So are there potential people looking to hire me or work with me? What kind of job titles? Which locations are they based? And more importantly, has anyone reshared your content? That is powerful, because what it's saying is that person firmly believes in the content you're sharing and is resharing it with people. Next one was how to create an attractive profile for employers to consider after leaving school with minimal or no experience. Oh, I hope you're listening. We covered all of that, so I'm not going to go into that. Lastly, how can a LinkedIn profile CV stand out in an automated recruitment system used by big companies? I've talked about keywords. I've talked about your personal about section. As we can see, I'm not saying mine is the best, but as you can see here, I've said what my mission statement is, what are the hashtags you can find about me, then what do I do my daytime job, where does my experience and credibility come from, what makes me unique. I have a live LinkedIn stream. I have a live stream on LinkedIn, the first in Africa. That's what makes me unique. So it means I get to interview subject matter experts, hiring managers, recruiters, etc., etc. And then I then go into a call to action. And my call to action here, I'll read it for you. My work-life journey is to change the untold and incomplete African digital narrative. I can't do it alone. I need your help. Let's all start telling better professional digital stories and sharing experiences to highlight the positive Africa opportunity narrative. It's time to shine. At the bottom, I've also made sure that people know that my posts are coming from me and do not represent the organization that I work for. That's it. Those were all of your questions answered, and I think it ended quite nicely.
Yes, thank you so much, Stuart. I don't know if we have any attendee who has any question before I close up. You can just unmute. You can unmute and ask your question in case you have any. Okay, so I'd want to thank Stuart now that we don't have any questions. And I've really resonated with a lot of things that you mentioned on mistakes that people make or things that people don't do right. And I think now I need to sit down and start and recreate my LinkedIn profile, because it's completely out of, it's completely not making sense as from what you've talked about. So I've really benefited from this session, and I'd like to appreciate you and say thank you. And also, in case anyone has a question, can we just reach out to you on LinkedIn, or you have another preferable
No,
media
LinkedIn is probably
communication?
the best place to find me. I work at scale, and I will keep pushing people to the things I've already written that do speak to most of the answers. I like people that are proactive, who will go out and try and learn something and come more with a specific question, because a lot of what I do is at scale, because I'm trying to help the whole continent here. So let's all teach each other. The one thing I would ask is, share this link or share this recording with someone else, because their experience or their way of approaching things might eventually end up helping you. So let's share the knowledge. That's my only ask for you, is that let's help other professionals, other guys that are students that may not be in engineering. Let's share, and let's share with our faculty leaders as well.
Thank you for that. We will share and also continue sharing on in future. So with that, I'd like to close the session. I think we only have 1 minute. So maybe as we leave the session, we can say thank you to Stuart. So I'll unmute all, so you can say your thank yous as you leave. Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome,
Thank you so
Rosemary.
much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jacob.
Thank you, Stuart.
Hey, thank you, Paddy.
Thank you, Stuart.
Hey, Davis, Alicia, Lauren, Vanessa, BV. David.
Thank you so much, Stuart.
Thanks, appreciate you. Tony, Alan, Zachariah, Ezekiel, Vanessa.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
I love it.
Good. All the best, guys.